So, we've had probably the biggest launch for us this year. I think it's the biggest launch this year in my world. How are you getting on so far? I know we talked a little bit off air before we came on this podcast, Abner. How many devices have you thrown Android 15 onto right now?
I am pretty much Android 15 on everything, except just like one. Well, yeah, the ones I'm not using are staying on Android 14 for the moment, just for comparative sakes. But my personal devices, like my tablet and my primary stuff, they're on 15. I do admit I did switch to QPL1 pretty early, as we can talk about in a bit. There are actually a bit more user-facing features there that I appreciate. But so far on Android 15, what are you liking? What are you noticing that's different? Okay,
so we've gone into depth over previous episodes, right? We've delved into all of the features and stuff. But what I will say that struck me straight away is, obviously from beta to stable release now, clearly there's been some polishing in between, because the performance feels on the Pixel 9 series specifically like a major step. It's probably a placebo effect, and I'm kind of excited from the whole launch stuff. But the performance feels so much better, as in things are more responsive, scrolling's nicer. And I need to ask you a question, actually. Have you noticed any difference in the haptics? I know I asked the rest of the team this, and nobody really gave me a specific response, but I feel, this is going to sound crazy, that the haptics feel slightly... 9? Yeah, they feel slightly different on the 9 series than they did in Android 14. Maybe I'm going crazy.
Can't say I've noticed.
Okay, so I am going crazy. Maybe I was fixating on all of these things improving, and I was like, oh yeah, the haptics feel incredible. This is amazing. I can type and I feel every single individual vibration. No, yeah, this for me, it's very much the performance feels like a major step up on the Pixel 9 series, and I guess going back to, I know we complained a little bit when the Pixel 9 was launched that it didn't launch with the latest OS update, but there's been a really big outpouring of like excitement for some reason on social media. It seems like everyone's excited at the same time to get the update.
Yes, and I think a large part of that is how long it took. Reasonably speaking, it was ready by August, absolutely by September.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of like the feature, sorry, I completely dodged your question in terms of like the feature stuff. For me, it's not necessarily one specific thing, to be quite honest with you. There's a few things that I really like. Like I really want to start using private space a bit more, because I only really tested it previously. I really like the fact that you get options for that default wallet. Although here in the UK, most people are going to use Google Wallet anyway, because you're just going to use it, and most people are going to be using it in the rest of the world. But that's really, really cool, I think. App pairs, though. Let me talk about app pairs, because this has been so long in the making, it feels like, that it's just nice to be able to just put those things, like two applications that you like. Like for me, it's mainly Chrome and Instagram. Chrome and Instagram, an app pair. I've got them side by side. I'm ready to go. It's insane that these things have existed on other OSs for so long, and it comes to Pixel, I'm like, oh my god, this is the best thing in the world. But yeah, it's been around for a long time. What are you currently using? What's your favorite? If you had to pick one, I know it's tough because there isn't actually a mass of changes here, but what's the one thing where you thought this is the dream feature?
So, and let's see, with Android 15 proper, I'd have to say, Android 15 proper. Well, I think I'd put it as the changes I notice every day. It would be full screen apps. It's the idea that some apps that target and that are developed for Android 15 by default, optimized for Android 15 by default. They go edge to edge in a few places, so you might no longer see a black bar, a black status bar, that kind of stuff. Funnily enough, I see it most in Google Password Manager. And even before Pixel screenshots, I'd say I liked the new screenshot editor, the preview rather, actually, in the bottom left corner. That's another thing I've been noticing. And I guess I'd say to round out my top 3, it's somewhat Android 15 adjacent, but the Pixel battery widget got updated with dynamic color so that your phone is its own color and everything else is tinted a different dynamic color. So to me, that's I have the battery widget on my home screen. So it's stuff like that that's really noticeable to me in terms of just seeing it's different. Yeah.
I think, I agree with you to maybe not to the most extent, but obviously these tiny little things kind of combine. And I guess in some ways that kind of proves how far Android is as an OS, as how mature it is, because we're talking about the tiniest little things. Like another thing that struck me straight away is because obviously I'm not living with the device in the beta constantly, or the beta, whatever, if you're a UK person. I kind of keep my main phone on a stable release most of the time. And so obviously when the Pixel 9 arrived, I just kept it on 14, didn't do anything else, just stuck to the original stable OTAs. For me, I forgot how much I like the redesigned authentication little panel that pops up. It's just much more clear that it's that application that you're going to use your thumbprint or your face unlock. And
there's a tiny logo above the sheet now.
Yeah, so it's nice to know specifically what it is, because sometimes obviously if you do lots of things at your phone at once, you kind of go into like autopilot and you just scan your fingerprint and you're like, oh, what am I doing? And then, I'm guessing people out there are probably listening and thinking, what is he talking about? But when you kind of, you'll know what I mean eventually. You'll see these little authentication panels, and I think they do make a lot more sense and a little bit clearer. I'm really, really impressed at, again, I'm going to reiterate it, just how much smoother it felt than during the beta phase. I don't know what they've done. I don't know. There's clearly been some polishing behind the scenes. Or it could just be the new hardware is truly tailor-made for Android 15 now, but it kind of has me excited. Like we'll get into QPR1, but this feels like it should have been. It may have changed certain aspects of the review when we did our initial review of the Pixel 9 series, because it does feel a little bit snappier as a result of that. Don't get me wrong, we still know that Tensor processors are never going to be top tier, but it is nice to have that level of extra responsiveness, even if it's just by a few milliseconds. But how do you feel the rollout's gone so far? Because it's not been necessarily as perfect as maybe years gone by. Like, I'm seeing people online who've asked me, like, they've not had the update yet. They're kind of having to side load. They're waiting on things to roll out slowly. Have you not heard any of that?
I guess I'll touch on side loading. In general, side loading is pretty easy, I'd say, because I know I'm absolutely aware of that dynamic of people hesitant to do anything like side loading in terms of connecting your phone to your PC, accessing the terminal. I know that's genuinely daunting to some people, and absolutely understandably. So I always get the hesitation there on doing that. But if you can get past that, it's pretty smooth sailing. In terms of the OTA itself, I think this is, I guess, more armchair analysis, but as of Tuesday, when it started rolling out, to me, it went wide much faster than usual. I'm not sure if that's the fact that Google took an extra month or two focusing everything, but I don't know. To me, that it went wide. It went out there much faster than usual for the people that want it, of course. And yesterday, those on the beta that have been waiting for the stable release, they got it. I think it's progressing smoothly.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of like an anecdotal thing that I had a few people message me on social media and kind of asking, almost trying to proclaim that the update, the coverage, the deep dive that we've done into the content is these features are not available. I'm like, are you sure you've updated? They're like, I have. And they're like, oh, I have the September patch running on my device with Android 15, which I found was a little bit strange. So I was kind of wondering if those people were probably on the beta release rather than the actual stable. So yeah, I think there's been a little bit of confusion on social media, probably crossed wires between me and people who've asked me, but it is it is interesting I always find it interesting when an Android release happens, because you kind of get fallout from it, either positive, negative, indifferent. And I feel like there's a lot of people who've probably with Pixel 9 series devices who are going to see some benefits. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that is a good thing that Google shipped it with an older version, and then you get an update later down the line and it feels like, oh, I'm getting something tangible at a later date. But I guess that's another topic for another day. But it definitely feels like there's been a fairly positive response in my little ecosystem of the internet.
I think we can jump into the Pixel drop now, because that's the other component, obviously, of this. An October feature drop it's really should have come last month to meet the quarterly schedule. So, but as always, the feature drop around the major Android release is hit or miss. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it's clearly tied to the operating system release. But yeah. Let's start with the Pixel 9 stuff. The updates you get if you're...
Yeah, I think some of them are camera related. Am I remembering that correctly? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Underwater photography so historically Google partnered with this one company starting on the Pixel 5 with their specific brands of case and an app to do underwater photography. But as of the Pixel 9 series, 9, 9 Pro, 9 Pro XL, there is an underwater photography toggle that you can enable in advanced settings. And it just makes the colors more accurate and clearer. It also works for video, so you can use any waterproof case. You have to use a waterproof case. And you get underwater photography, which I think is a nice touch.
Do you think you would ever go snorkeling with your phone, though? I don't think I'd trust salt water around even my IP-certified device.
Absolutely has to be in a case.
Yeah, but even in a case, I still don't think I would trust myself.
I think it's fine.
Do you think it'd be fine? The biggest worry is that someone's going to put it in like a Ziploc bag and proclaim that it's going to be as safe in a Ziploc bag. And someone will damage their phone.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I've seen people do that at the beach. So yeah, that was my only worry ahead of time. I was like, this is a kind of a cool thing. And obviously, understandably, there's the science behind underwater photography and stuff.
People do that?
Have you never seen anyone at the beach with a Ziploc bag with their phone in it?
It's not a clear... Is it a clear bag, hopefully?
Yeah, like a clear bag, like a sandwich Ziploc bag, and you just throw it in and it's...
Oh, yeah, that zipper does nothing.
Well, some people... I've seen people swear by it, so there will be somebody out there. Anyone who's listening, please confirm to me that you have seen someone at the beach with their phone in a Ziploc bag, splashing, paddling, whatever it is, even at the pool. But yeah, I do worry that some people will take any waterproof case as I'm going to leave it in basically a plastic bag.
No, I don't think it works like that. Anyways, that is rolling out with Pixel Camera 9.6. It's not widely available yet, but it's making its way to people via the Play Store. And along with that, so the Pixel 9 launched on Camera 9.5, and everything else is still on 9.4. It skipped 9.5. So with this Android 15 October feature drop, everything is updated to 9.6. And the change that everybody else will see is, I believe you get a 5-second timer now, and night sight is a little bit easier to enable for specifically astrophotography. You go into the night sight mode, you tap a button, you tap a slider to astrophotography, and it's a wee bit easier to access. So yeah, that's the camera stuff. There is night sight and Instagram expansion from Snapchat.
Do you think people will use Instagram's inbuilt camera to do that, or is this because I know that a lot of people have the same process. I take the image and then upload it rather than using the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's a nice update, right?
The camera is so cluttered. It's comparatively like you appreciate stuff like Pixel Camera, that your phone's standard viewfinder, so much more when you start using third-party camera apps. But that apps, to your point, people absolutely, they're so familiar with the viewfinder.
Strange. But sorry, I derailed you a little bit. There was another camera feature that I guess is lesser used. That is technically the new UI for the thermometer? Is that brand new in terms of like going to the Pixel 8 series?
For the Pixel 8 Pro, this one phone, the thermometer. Again, I'm at this point, I've come around on the thermometer as a tool, as making your phone even more of a tool. So I kind of wish they kept it. I almost kind of wish the 9 Pro Fold has it, just for the consistency's sake. But yeah, that's a nice viewfinder UI with a live camera preview as you scan stuff. The other camera features, let's see what else there is on the No, I guess this is vaguely adjacent, is the other new feature for the 9 series is there's a Gemini extension for Pixel screenshots. So you're able to ask Gemini proper, not Gemini Live, for information you've stored in Pixel screenshots. I think they're getting there in terms of because a lot of information can be in Pixel screenshots, and freeing it up with your voice access is definitely important.
Yeah, I can definitely see myself using this one quite a lot. I think I use the search in Pixel screenshots, which is probably one of my most used Google applications right now. I'm a big screenshot taker anyway, and now I'm becoming a what I consider a pro screenshot taker. And being able to use contextual search is like a godsend, rather than having to look through maybe WhatsApp messages or whatever it has to be. I can just screenshot things, search for that particular conversation or whatever it needs to be. It could be a ticket, it could be something like that, and I love that aspect of it. So being able to ask Gemini, like pull up the images of my the shoes that I was going to buy yesterday on X website, that would be cool. I think that would be pretty decent to use that. So I'm excited for that one rolling out. There was one other feature that I think anyone out there who is probably using an older device is really excited by as well, and that is the Pixel weather application, which I know that you love. So I want to hear you wax lyrical about this and tell people the cool stuff that's coming to Pixel 6 and newer.
Yeah, it's for these old devices, Pixel weather is absolutely the highlight. There's absolutely no reason why it can't run on older devices, and that's what we're seeing. So yeah, from the Pixel 6 and newer, it's this dedicated focused app that should have been there a long time ago. What's new this time around is the addition of a pollen tracker. It's only available in France, Germany, Italy, and the UK. So I assume that has to do with data, where Google has data for. I hope they expand it, obviously. But yeah, it's a nearly perfect Pixel weather app for the Pixel. And I guess the only thing I kind of waiting for is more widgets.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have the pollen count as a widget. I know that I don't know what it's like in mainland Europe, but I know that in the UK we have pollen count is usually one of those things. It's not this time of year; it's kind of done. You would get that on like a TV weather report, so it makes sense to have it in a weather application. I know that the BBC is probably one of the gold standards, and I think they have a pollen count on theirs. I haven't used it for a while because I have switched full time now to the Pixel weather application. Not really someone who, as if anyone's listened to previous podcasts, I just look out the window. I'm one of those people. But yeah, I've started to use it a bit more because those AI summaries are great. So it'd be really nice to have that integrated into the AI summary. I think that'd be cool. Like high pollen count, be blah blah blah. If you need antihistamines or whatever it is, take those to lessen the stinging eye syndrome that you get from high pollen counts. But yeah, I think that's a really nice addition to the Pixel 6 series because it feels though over the last few years that, like every Pixel, the older devices definitely get treated like a second-class citizen. So seeing the Pixel feature drop, bringing these features to older devices is always really, really nice.
Speaking of the UK, you are getting what Google calls next-gen call screen. It launched in the US first, and it has a more human-sounding voice, real-time transcripts, and you will get these so if you have if you want to just confirm an appointment quickly without getting on the call, you can tap these automated replies. So yeah, call screen in the UK and Japan is getting better.
I'm guessing these will have localized accents as well for the people on the call, because I actually haven't used call screen as much as I probably should. I don't get that many calls nowadays. I don't know why.
Yeah, so
it does. Oh, good. I was worried. I was like, I don't want it. It'd be weird if I call up my dentist and there's an American voice at the end of the line when I put someone on call screen. They might get scared and slam the phone down. So yeah, I guess that's another one of those.
Hopefully there is. Yeah.
Hopefully that's a. Yeah. Hopefully we're both touching wood now. We're worried that we might send out the wrong information. But yeah, I'm guessing there's some more features as well that was coming. I think.
Yes.
I remember hearing about Audio Magic Eraser.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something else coming to the Pixel 8 series, which it absolutely should support. But the other stuff is there's pretty big, the tablet stuff, they're pretty sizable. I guess this is really the first major update for the Pixel tablet, I'd say. So notification sync between your phone and your tablet. If you dismiss a notification on one, it's removed on the other. Some interesting limitations. This only works over Wi-Fi. And I've only tested it with 2 devices. I know we're the outlier in terms of having multiple phones. But yeah, you have to enable it manually in settings before this works. It's under notification settings. Do you think you'll be using that? Because
I think I will. Because there's nothing worse than turning on my tablet and getting about 200 notifications when it powers on. So hopefully it does fix that, because I haven't been able to test it. I think sometimes as well, when you switch between devices quite a bit, it's annoying, like I say, to be inundated with notifications. So it's kind of a sensible decision, especially if you're using the same Google account across those. And I have enabled it, and it does let you select it on a per account basis, I think, in the settings, or at least the ones that I've been looking at. So it might not work perfectly, but at least the deluge of notifications is going to be lessened. I'm guessing most people don't have 2 devices running concurrently like this. Maybe a tablet and a phone is probably the sensible way to do it. But it's good. It's good to see the Pixel tablet not being left out, because again, it feels like the tablet has just almost been treated as a lesser citizen to the mainline phone lineup, if that makes sense.
No, agreed, absolutely. So the other thing happening here is there's the home panel screensaver with Android 15, and it's very convenient. But you're also getting some new quark faces in hub mode. Those haven't rolled out yet either, but can expect a new analog quark, for example. While the Google Photo screensaver, it now lets you share, favorite, and archive photos. There's a little overflow menu in the corner, and you can make edits. It's a bit like I do believe the Nest Hub had some of these capabilities before, so that's a nice parity happening.
Yeah, I mean, I need to go get myself a Hub now. I just don't want to pay £150 for just a Hub. So maybe Google could kind of allow it if you bought like a different dock. But yeah, it's probably not going to be able to use some of them features until I get myself a Hub to enable Hub mode. But it's nice to see that again that the tablet's getting some nice features. But in terms of like the rounding out the entirety of the Pixel feature drop, or the Pixel drop, I think it's called now, right?
That's
we have some updates for the watch as well, which is good.
Yeah, the watch is as of Thursday, it hasn't received an update. So the context there is the Android 15 update for the Pixel Watch and the Pixel Watch 2 that had it soft bricked some people's devices, and that update was pulled after 2 days, and officially it's coming later this year. The Wear OS 5 is going to roll back out, but now that the Tuesday has come, there's no update for the Pixel Watch 3 either, no usual security patch. Yeah, that's a bummer, but at the same time, as seen with this feature drop, most features come via the Play Store updates instead of system updates, so that's something. And what we have is a new contact tile and the ability to reply to Gmail with emoji reactions.
Yeah, I can't see myself ever using that. I think that would annoy people.
Have you enabled loss of pulse detection? That's the flagship health feature.
That is a really good question. Can I do that straight from the watch, or do I need to do that from the Pixel Watch application?
Yeah, you probably need the application.
Okay, so that's probably something I probably need to do at some point. Go to the safety and emergency settings and enable that, because no, I have not enabled that by the looks of it.
It's
no, I don't.
Flagship health feature for the Pixel Watch this time around, and it's a good idea. I'm waiting for it to come in the US. But yeah, that is compared to previous drops, the watch and the tablet have definitely gotten more stuff. But in aggregate, how would you rate this Pixel drop, and especially the fact that we're seeing another one in December? Presumably.
Yeah, I would treat this as like my interpretation of it is it's like dessert after a main meal of Android 15, and I think it's just a nice additional extra. I think it does confuse. I'm guessing it is quite confusing because a lot of people don't seem to understand that the Pixel drop is technically separate to the Android 15 release. So maybe it could have been one of those things. Yeah, I mean, some of the features some of the prerequisites are part of Android 15 are needed for the I'll keep calling it a feature drop. I'm going to call it a feature drop for the feature drop. I think that's probably creates a little bit of confusion.
Drop, I don't like that name in the first Pixel drop.
No, it's just
shorter, but it
doesn't make sense, does it? But I think calling it Android 15 Pixel drop does confuse people a little bit because they're expecting it all. I don't know. It's mixed messages.
No, so like I said, like historically, the Pixel drop, the feature drop associated with the major Android release, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's really minor and just has like 5 features. So I guess the factor here is going into during the beta cycle, the Android. In this case, Android 15 beta cycle, it's never quite obvious what features are part of Android and what's a Pixel exclusive thing. That's happened for the past, 3-4 years. It's been hard to distinguish, and we only know after the fact. We only know after the feature drop comes what Google thinks is a Pixel exclusive feature versus a general Android feature. In this case, it's stuff. In this case, the boundaries are more clearly delineated. Like Pixel cameras, obviously only on Pixel phones. But yeah, it's always a mix, and I think you put it perfectly. Like dessert after the main course, because it's never guaranteed an explicit Pixel feature drop after with the main Android release.
Yeah, I mean, in like I was saying, in terms of confusion, the strange thing here is that they're announced on the same day as Android 15 releases. So you get that whole gamut of Android 15. We've done a deep dive into that. If you haven't already, anyone listening out there, go check out the deep dive into that. I've done a full coverage of it. There were a few things removed last minute. So there's a couple of features that actually aren't in it. Device diagnostics, cellular network security, which I believe could potentially be down to a lack of hardware. So that's why that feature technically isn't there. And I think there was one more, but I cannot remember off the top of my head what that one was. But there were 3 admittedly minor features within Android 15.
Adaptive timeout, was it?
Yes, adaptive timeout for the display. So I imagine that could be, again, related to hardware for the display. But at this point, we don't know. But with regard to the Pixel drop, those features drip feed in the weeks preceding or the days preceding Android 15. And I think that is in some ways a dangerous game that Google's playing, because people expect things to be on day one. And I know that Apple has traditionally done that, Apple Intelligence being a little bit of a misnomer. I think doing it like that is good. I see it from the positive side of things. Like, hey, I've received Android 15 and I'm going to get these extra features as long as I have an eligible device and it's compatible. I think that's kind of cool. What it does do, though, is it sets us up nicely for the feature drop, which I'm still going to call it the feature drop in December. But I do wonder, why didn't they hold these until then? Because that would have been a really nice, oh my goodness, there's hundreds, well, not hundreds, but there could be like 10, 15 features available. Really cool features.
That would have been even bigger, I agree.
Yeah, I think that would have made a bit more sense. But at the end of the day, I'm not complaining. Sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm not. It's nice to see extra things that are tied to Pixel devices only, and I kind of got to applaud in some respects the way Google are doing it with these feature drops, is that they're decoupling things from big OS updates and giving people little things every now and again. I think that definitely feels like, oh, my phone in a year's time could be potentially completely different to what it is now. And I think that's a really cool way of doing it. Obviously been covering these for the better part of, 4 years since the first feature drop? 2020, I think.
Pixel 5?
Or, 2020. That is feels like a long time ago, right? So, I think doing it like that is a really, really good way. I think that kind of covers our feelings on QPR as well, in terms of like, we're excited for that as well, because that's not very long away. We've only got 2 months, just less than 2 months to wait for that. So we've had a big Android 15 release.
The back-to-back nature of that is going to be interesting. And again, it conveys like how late Android 15 proper was.
I think it's a good thing, though. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited, and it kind of looks good in some respects that we're going to have back-to-back updates. But yeah, we will be covering that in detail. Definitely come check out our coverage on the website. We're hoping to see some more kind of beta releases until that stable release at the start of December. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed Android 15 so far. Definitely get in touch if you've seen any improvements. I want to know if I'm talking rubbish. But yeah, this might not be the biggest update, but it's been a fun one either way. It feels like we've wrapped up a full year now. This is Pixel season. Off the back of that, Android 15's done. And it's downhill from here.
Year that started in February. It was a long one this year.
100%. I'm really excited to see what 16 brings now, though. So yeah, we're looking forward as well. But I just want to say thanks for joining me again this week, Abner. It's been a busy one.
Likewise.
It's been a fun one. We have loads of Android 15 coverage on the website. Definitely go read it, go view it, do whatever you need to do. But yeah, this has been a really fun one, and I'll catch you soon.
Right. Bye.